Dear students, welcome back. Today we shall discuss about the subject corporate compliance. We were discussing about the important act, the Indian Contract Act, and followed by the Consumer Protection Act. So here we discussed about who is a consumer, then the laws which supports the protection of the consumer. So this act was introduced in 1986, which we have discussed in the last class, and we understood who is a consumer. And here we come across the important terminology as defect and deficiency. So that is pertain to what we have discussed. Hope you know. And now we shall continue with this. So to start with, we shall understand what is a service, because here mainly will be as a consumer, he will be using both goods and services. So with respect to goods, we discuss about the in terms of its quality and quantity as the defect and deficiency. And with respect to service, again any the fault or any kind of the what is that the suppose if they don't meet the standards in terms of quality or any imperfection or shortcoming with respect to service, so that also come under the Consumer Protection Act. So we'll be discussing both here. Before we proceed, we shall understand what is a service. Service means service of any description which is made available to the potential users, and which includes but not limited to the provisions of the facilities in connection with, that is, banking, financing, insurance, transport, processing, supply of electrical or other energy, then boarding or lodging or both, and house construction, entertainment, amusement, or any purveying or new or other information. So anything related to such services we call as the service. So the bodies or the organizations which offer such services are called as service sectors or service agencies. So here the consumer may come across some kind of issues or may face some problems with respect to this. So here, in order to redress such disputes or the imperfections or faults with respect to both the quality, quantity, and the service related issues, we have consumer dispute redressal agencies, which is being set up by the government. So here such disputes will be redressed at three different levels. They are, the first one is district level, then state level and national level. They are called as Consumer Dispute Redressal Forum at the district level, the same again at the state level, the same at the national level also. So here any deficiency with respect to service. So already we discussed about the deficiency and defect with respect to good. With respect to service, it means a fault or imperfection or shortcoming or inadequacy in quality, nature, or manner of performance that is required. And service includes service in connection with banking, financing, insurance. So already the examples we have discussed, but it does not include any service free of charge or under a personal contract. That cannot be considered as service here. Now any complaint with respect to this, that we call as a complaint. Complaint means an allegation in writing by a complainant, that is one the person who complained about this in the form of writing, so that we call as a complaint. An unfair or restrictive trade practice is practiced by a trader or service provider, that is goods bought or to be brought or services hired or to be hired suffered from any deficiency, or trader or service provider has charged excess price, or goods and service are hazardous or are likely to be hazardous to life and safety. So such any complaint, no, we receive in terms of these that we call as complaint. And who is a complainant? So that is, complainant means any voluntary consumer. First, he or she should be a consumer association registered under a consumer, the Companies Act or any other law, or central or state government if it makes a complaint, or one or more consumers having same interest. In case of death of a consumer, his legal heir or representative can be considered as a complainant. Suppose any the suffering by such consumer because of consumption of the good, or maybe any issue with respect to by taking the service by the service provider, we call as a complaint. And as we discussed, the machineries that deals with such disputes comes under machinery that is under this act. It is called as Central Consumer Protection Council at the central level, that is by the government, central government, and State Consumer Protection Council, that is governed by the state government, and District Consumer Protection Council governed by the concerned districts. So these are the important commissions or the machineries deals with the redressal of such disputes concerned with the protection of consumers. So consumer dispute redressal machinery. So all these three levels as discussed, it is very important, where they have their set the procedure they follow, and such complaint by the complainant will be redressed as like how any issue or case will be solved in the court of law, as like that it will be solved at each level. So any matter dispute concerned at that level will be sorted out. Here, in case of any kind of the seriousness towards this will be again addressed in the jurisdiction that is called as pecuniary jurisdiction, that is forum where complaints can be entertained, depends on value of goods and service and compensation claimed. That is in case of any serious issue in terms of the health of the consumer, then definitely it will be taken seriously. In that case, again definitely it will attract some compensation also. So again in such serious cases, the different commissions have set the fine or the penalty, certain the slabs. So at the district forum, any the penalty should not exceed more than 20 lakhs, and at the state commission again should not exceed more than 20 lakhs, and at the national commission it should not exceed more than 1 crore. So this is at the pecuniary jurisdiction. Suppose in case any the issue related to territory, that will be redressed at the territorial jurisdiction. That is, territorial jurisdiction lies in the court of the place where the opposite party resides or carries on business or personally works for gain, where the cause of action wholly or partly arose. So this is about the different commissions or machinery set for the redressal of the disputes. Now coming to disposal of disputes. Here the district forum, usually they may ask the opposite party to remove the defect. So that is, a chance will be given to the manufacturer to replace the damaged one, or remove the defect and to replace to the consumer, or may ask to replace the goods with new good and free from the defect at free of cost, or may ask to return to the complainant the price of goods, or to pay any amount as compensation. In case of the serious loss, then the concerned person has to compensate. So this is the powers the district forum has, and appeals to be preferred within the 30 days. So that is from the order of the district forum to the state commission, and from the order of state commission to the national commission, and can entertain appeals beyond 30 days on sufficient cause shown for the delay. It has to be disposed within 90 days from its admission. The time limit for filing complaint is within 2 years from the date on which the cause of action arises. So any damage concerned, no, the complainant has to complain within 2 years from the date on which the cause any incident happened, and even where the time limit expires, the complainant can be taken up, and the delay for every single day has to be explained. So any delay from the commission, no, so they have to give an explanation for that. What are the rights of a consumer? Protection from hazardous goods and services, then information about quality, quantity, purity, standards and price. So any product we buy on a regular basis, suppose if there is any, like say for example, beyond the expiry date it is been sold, and we buy that, and or with respect to the quantity any issues, or maybe the quality the set is not as per standards, such complaints can be raised. Access to a variety of goods and services at competitive prices, and assurance that his interest will be considered at appropriate fora. That is, any issues, no, has to be addressed at the concerned forum. So any complaint, no, the consumer related complaints can be filed. Some the contact details has to be provided by the manufacturers, and the right to consumer education. Again, everyone, the commissions has all the rights to educate the consumers about this act, so that they can feel free and come forward to face any challenges. So this is about Consumer Protection Act. Now let us continue. Now let us continue the act with another important act, that is Competition Act of 2000. So after understanding about the Indian Contract Act and Consumer Protection Act, now it is the turn of the manufacturer or the employer to know something about the competition that exists among the competitors or in the business. So that usually we discuss under Competition Act, because to encourage a healthy competition among the competitors, so this act has been introduced in 2000. So before we start, let us understand what is a competition in the market and why do we need competition in the market. So now let us understand what is a competition in the market. The buyer always prefers to buy a product at a price that maximizes his benefits, whereas the seller prefers to sell the product at a price that maximizes his profit. So that is where both should have the mutual satisfaction, that is by selling the product what he has manufactured, and by using the product at the preferred